Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on Forza 6 with another autocross car build. My vehicle today is the Datsun 2000, and as you can see it is already slightly built. I do apologise. This time it wasn't the Forza game that was messing up. This time the capture card just crashed after I finished building it, so I didn't see the point in going back and removing the parts only to re-put them back on. So yeah, the Datsun is built and ready to go. I will talk you through though what I've done with this car. It is perhaps a little bit different to some of the builds that I have done before. It has potential to be very, very fast, but I am also quite scared of it. Now, the reason why it has potential to be very fast is this is actually pretty powerful. We have got the 3-litre V8 racing engine in this car, the Ariel Atom engine, which means we have 475 horsepower in this, 268 foot-pounds of torque, all in a car that weighs less than 2,000 pounds. That is a big, big power-to-weight ratio in A-class. So, potential for lots of speed. Of course, it is a rather old car. It's also not exactly got the largest of tyres. I feared it might be a bit worse off than it is, but we have only got 245s on the rear, and we've got a lot of power going through the car. So I'm really hoping we don't have too much oversteer. That is the big concern with this vehicle. Now, I have got the full race tyres on here and the full tyre widths, and yes, the car is still an A-class. The one thing I did have to compromise ever so slightly on was the weight reduction. I couldn't go for the full level of weight reduction because it sticks it up into S-Class, so I had to go for one down. Now, I can get away with this because the V8 racing engine is so light. When I put it back down to this sport weight reduction, this is about the weight that the car would get with a normal engine in it. So we get a lot of power, not too much torque, we get plenty of power in this thing, decent enough torque figures, and it doesn't actually weigh that much more. You have to compromise slightly on the build, and I think the other thing I had to compromise on was the driveline. Yes, I couldn't put the driveline on just to get those couple of PI points down so that we could keep it in A-class. So tiny little bit compromise on the build, but I mean things like, you know, the gearbox and stuff we've still got in, the brakes and suspension, still got all of them in. I really like the roll cage on this car as well. It's really cool. It's kind of got it all, it's sort of like a proper convertible roll cage, if you like. I think it looks really, really cool on this vehicle. And of course we've got the full aero. Unfortunately, no silly wings on the Datsun. Yeah. Potential, there is a lot of. Oopsie, didn't want to press that button. I meant to do that. There we go. Potential, there is certainly a lot of potential in this car. The question is, will it be good enough to drive? If it's very, very oversteery, we could have some issues. I'm hoping, though, that the Datsun can be incredibly fast. So here we are at the Hockenheim circuit, where I will get 3 attempts to run through this autocross course. Our current fastest car and target time is from the Alfa Romeo 4C, with a time of 2 minutes 6.9. That's a very, very fast time on this course. The Datsun, if it is nice and controllable, I think it can certainly challenge towards the top. I don't know whether it's going to be enough to challenge that 4C. The 4C was a very, very good car around here. I'm not sure we're quite going to have enough control in this. But certainly this should have awful lot of acceleration. Yeah, we could see this going into perhaps the top 3. I'm kind of expecting this a little bit like the RX-7 Buzzbox. That's kind of the style of driving I'm expecting from the Datsun, but yeah, fingers crossed it won't be quite that oversteery. Right, we are ready to go with this potentially crazy little thing. The gears that's incredibly long gears. There goes a bit of oversteer. Right, have to be a bit careful on that one. We could almost break the speed limit in first gear. That's how long the gears are in the Datsun. That is quite it's quite impressive. It's not necessarily a bad thing, mind. With the longer gears, it can help quell the oversteer, help quell the wheel spin. Bloody hell, that was quick. That was really quick. Through that fast section. Oh, turns in lovely. Unlike the Prowler that I drove out, the Prowler was a great car, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Prowler's gone up to second on our leaderboard. Prowler was a good car. But this turns in much nicer. It's very good at getting the front end into the... Oh, as I say that, I may have outbraked myself. I pushed it a little... I pushed it a little too much through that section. Okay, got to be a little bit careful with that back end wanting to come around. Oh, then I also did a very, very silly thing there. Yeah, there's a lot more turning than I'm expecting on this car, I think, is what's going on. Hey, we can get it sliding. There we go, we can get it quite sliding. It's actually not that bad, though. The long gear ratios, I think, are, again, proving to be quite helpful on this car. Certainly helpful for stopping the wheel spin, at least. Alright, through that gate. I do like the way that this changes direction. Probably not a good idea to hit that curb. That curb is a bad place to be putting your car. The brakes are pretty good. I did overcook it earlier on, but that was me just pushing a little bit too hard. Yeah, it does get stopped pretty well. And I think that the thing with this car is it's not so much that the brakes are bad, it's that it is so very, very fast accelerating in between the corners that you get caught out with what speed you're doing in this. See, that's not what you want the car to be doing. Going very sideways with the poor little Datsun. Oh, gets slowed down now for this final section. I mean, one of the bits that we have seen a few cars struggle with this final run to the line. I'm thinking the Datsun, that was just, again, slightly silly mistake, so there's so much grip in this car. The Datsun is lovely through this kind of change of direction, does really, really well through there. The back end is wanting to spin the wheels up. Okay, first attempt with the car. There were a few gate clips. I think I've got 4 gate clips in that. But I like it. The Datsun is not as bad to drive as I feared it might be. So, on to our second attempt. I've got to try and cut out the mistakes, and if I can just get a little bit less oversteer, that would work really nicely for me. Then I've got to be aware of the car's acceleration and speed in between the gates as well, not get too carried away with the speed. There we go. Not massively sliding through the first few gates. It's always good. Right, let's get you slowed down for this corner as well. I do like the speed. I think this would make a fantastic A-Class car, actually. I think there's a lot of speed and still decent enough grip to deal with the demands of a circuit, although having said that, that was very, very sideways. We're going to have a huge... Oh, we got away with that. That was a little closer than I would like, Datsun. I will be honest. That was... I mean, if I'd put that rear wheel on the grass where I thought it was going to, we probably would have gone round in a circle. But managed to gather it all up. Just about. Let's not do the same silly thing. There's actually a little tiny bit of understeer when pushed really hard, but it's not too bad. It's not, you know, as perfect handling as we got from the NSX, but that's perhaps not too surprising, really, from this car. The NSX was lovely. It certainly isn't the ultimate easy car to drive, but it isn't as bad as the RX. I say as bad as the RX-7. The RX-7 wasn't a particularly bad car. It was just a bit more oversteery than the other vehicles. And on a course like this, you really can't afford a car to be quite oversteery. Again, this is all relative to what we're doing around here. So yeah, this is not as tough to drive as I thought it was, considering, you know, we've got almost 500 horsepower in a tiny Datsun. Oh, I didn't want to put that down into first. That was a silly mistake. Oh, I've been playing it quite risky on this run. I will be honest. This run has been a little bit on edge with the Datsun. Yeah, I'm running a little bit wide into the hairpin, but that's okay because of that RC gate through there. Just drags the car out wide. So yeah, that line there I'm pretty pleased with, provided you don't end up in the cone on the outside. Things are all good. Right, we are around these final gates up towards the wiggle towards the line. Come on, Datsun. Let's be neat, be tidy through here. Try and get the power down as soon as possible. Right now we can boot it. A little short shift to stop the wheel spin. What is the time? Oh, it's fast. It's fast. We have a new leader. A 206.8 from the Datsun. This is a bloody good car, and I've got one more attempt to go. I'm not sure I can find any more time, though. So this V8 powered monster is going to go to the top of the table regardless of what happens here, but can I find any more time? I'm not sure. That last run was pretty damn good. There were a couple of scary moments, but I'm not sure they actually cost me very much in terms of lap time, and there were some very fast sections as well, so I will give it a good shot with the Datsun, but I'm not sure quite where we're going to find time. I'm really impressed with this car. This may I'm going to say this may be my new A-Class car of choice. This is a very, very fast A-Class car. I don't prefer it to drive over the NSX because the NSX is so lovely. However, this is much faster. This is a very, very good A-Class car. There is so much speed and enough grip to be drivable. I think this is mighty, mighty impressive in this car. Right, we've had a good first sector. No terrifying moments. How do we do through... Oh, I think... it may just be the slight weight transfer that gets this car. It's not the first car we've seen have little issues with the weight transfer as we go through these fast gates. It just sort of starts getting the car sliding a little bit. It's not massive at all. It's just enough to unsettle the car a little tiny bit. I think putting up into second there is going to be a good idea. As I said at the start, the gear ratios being a bit longer, they do help with wheel spin. I think I would perhaps like to change them ever so slightly if I was to use this car for anything else, as I'm constantly stuck in between first and second and not quite sure which is the best way to go. Well, we are flat out through there with that change of direction though, which is very nice. Okay, let's not stick it down into first, get it through here. The back end is going through the tunnel though. We're okay. Let's not do that one again either, Datsun. Okay, the back end is just a little bit wigglier for my liking, but this is a phenomenal car. I'm surprised just how good this is around here. Oh, we're going to overshoot that. Nope, we got it. But again, you run it right on the edge. So much confidence in this car that it'll make these turns carrying this ludicrous amounts of speed in here. Right, and then for the final wiggle, let's try and be neat through here, get the power down, flat out towards the line. Are we going quicker? It is! Fractionally. Two near enough identical runs. 2:06.8 from the Datsun. That is some consistency for you right there. It was a neat to run, that one. We're talking hundredths of a second faster. That time around for the Datsun. This is a really good car. This is a really very, very good car. It's got so much acceleration, so much straight line speed. I think it's probably got the fastest straight line speed of any car we've had around this course. I mean, admittedly, we're only getting up to about 120, but still, I mean, that's impressive on an autocross course. This Datsun is really very, very good. It goes to the top of our table. It displaces the Alfa Romeo 4C. Yes, it is only by 1/10 of a second, but yeah, that is, well, it's almost a second quicker than the BAC Mono around here. You know how good the BAC Mono is at autocross. This Datsun is absolutely awesome. Really very good car. I highly recommend one of these as an A-Class vehicle with the V8 racing engine. It's absolutely exquisite. Can be not the easiest car to drive, can be a tad oversteery for my personal liking, but if I can manage it, I'm sure other people can. It's, yeah, really very, very good when it comes to the autocross. Didn't expect this one to go to the top of the table. That is for... I thought it could be quick. Didn't quite expect it, though, to beat out that amazing Alfa 4C. But there we go. That is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.